The release of a new booster set means changes to the metagame. FATED Clash introduces us to a lot of new powerful decks, one of them being the Dragon Empire deck, Varga Dragres. As usual, I'll be going through all the new supporting cards, talk about how the deck works, and giving you a sample deck list. Let's start by talking about the main unit of the deck. FATED 1 of Unparalleled, Varga Dragres says, auto on Vanguard Circle, once per turn, when this unit attacks the Vanguard, cost CB1, retire all of you and your opponent's front row rearguards, and this unit gets power plus 10k until end of turn. At the end of that battle, stand this unit, and it gets drive -2 until end of turn. Divine Skill, auto on Vanguard Circle, at the end of the battle this unit attacked a grade 3 or greater unit. If your opponent's damage zone has 4 or more cards and this unit attacked 2 or more times this turn, cost CB1, stand this unit and it gets drive +2 until end of turn. So what is a Divine Skill? It's an effect that we can only use once per game. Kind of like a Regulus piece, but we can run multiple copies of it. That's why it's important we time when we use the skill optimally depending on the game state. Let's say that we just roll into this on turn 3 and our opponent's nowhere near 6 damage. Then it will kind of be a waste if we decide to use the Divine Skill, as they can just take it without any crit or power pressure. But as we work towards the later stages of the game, maybe we Persona rolled or increased our Vanguard's power with triggers, and our opponent's hand side is getting relatively low, we could consider using the skill to go for the final push. I think this is a powerful card. Our opponent has to play with the fear of us activating our Divine Skill any turn, maybe making their guards suboptimal. One thing to note is the Dragon Empire Overtrigger doesn't really work in this deck, as we're already declaring the stand prior to the attack. We're pretty much wasting the additional ability on Drag Veda, unless you hit it after the Divine Skill. That's very situational. You might think that while wiping out our opponent's front row rearguard is great, having to sacrifice our own is a downside. Under normal circumstances, yes, but we can instead be running rearguards that can get around this effect. Types of units we can consider are ones that can't be retired or units that sacrifice themselves after attacking in exchange for more value, or even ones that can call themselves back after they have been retired. We'll be looking at these types of cards in a bit. Then we have the rest of the right line. Of course, we have the grade 0, Heated Blade Art. It's just the same as every other D-Series starter, but do remember now to set your energy crest when you ride into your grade 1. For the grade 1, we have Blaze Ember Dragon. Auto, when this unit's rolled upon by Boulder Axe Dragon, call this card to Rearguard Circle and Soul Charge 1. Continuous on Rearguard Circle, during your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga and its card name, this unit gets power plus 2k. While the Soul Charge and a free 10k booster is nice, I just value having something more impactful on the board. The card advantage this card is providing is pretty minimal, but having some early game pressure is alright. Next up's the grade 2, Boulder Axe Dragon. Auto, when this unit's rolled upon by a grade 3 card with Varga and its card name, call this card to Rearguard Circle. Auto on Rear, when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga and its card name, this unit gets power plus 5k until end of that battle. At the end of that battle, retire this unit and draw a card. This is a great card for the deck. Before we need to attack with more powerful units for our push turns, this is amazing just to accumulate some value. It's my favorite unit to call on turn 3. Having 2 of these is 2 15k attackers that draws 2 cards before we attack with Varga twice. I really like riding Varga on Boulder Axe Dragon. Having this for a free attacker that translates to another card is amazing value. I also like the Boulder Axe Blaze Ember Dragon column we set up. If we're going first, that's a 25k column against their 10k, which means that they have to guard with more than one trigger. Now let's talk about the new supporting cards. First, we have Drag Ritter Shura. Auto on Rearguard Circle, when this unit attacks, cost Energy Blast 2 and this unit gets power plus 5k until end of that battle. Choose up to one of your rearguards with a different card name from this unit and it gets auto when this unit is retired from rear, put this card into hand until end of turn. Auto when this unit is retired from Rearguard Circle by the ability of your grade 3 or greater Vanguard or Varga and its card name. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, cost CB1, call this card to Rearguard Circle and it gets power plus 10k until end of turn. This is one of our payoffs after using Varga's effect. It makes our attacks less awkward as we can still be distributing our triggers powers to the rears with the drive checks. The first skill is great for keeping our units for next turn, as well as forcing our opponent to throw out a 15k shield without committing a booster ourselves. We don't necessarily have to protect our other rear attacker. Cards like Drag Ritter Mid-Hat, Steel Blood Duststorm Ethan, or Dragonmon Gojo that self-retires as a cost can be returned to our hand using this skill and used again for next turn. The next card is Obduracy Grave Dragon. Continuous on front row Rearguard Circle, during your turn, if you do not have another front row rearguard with the same card name as this unit cannot be retired by card effects and gets power plus 10k. Continuous on Rearguard Circle, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga and its card name, this unit gets boost. This card gets around our Vanguard's retire effect and is pretty good for the early stages of the game. When we do find more powerful attackers like Shura, we can easily slide this back for a 13k booster. Next up is Impale Horn Dragon. Continuous on Rearguard Circle, during the battle this unit boosted. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga in its card name, this unit gets power plus 5k. Auto on Rear, when this unit boosts a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga in its card name, this unit gets power plus 2k until end of that battle. and at the end of that battle, cost Soul Blast 1 and retire this unit and draw a card. So basically, behind the Vanguard, this is a 15k booster. While the additional power is great, I don't like how it can only draw if it's behind Varga, which means if I have multiples of this card, I can't cycle them all on the same turn. I think Drag Raider Mid-Hat is just a lot more consistent in drawing us cards, and we also want to have other units such as Gojo behind our Vanguard, so all these effects kind of clash against each other. And there's also Battle Monk of Raging Flames Khufu, basically a 13k attacker that has 10k shield. I think we can do a lot better than this. The last new card I want to talk about is the generic cycler that every nation got. For Dragon Empire, it's Drag Raider Farhat. Auto when this card is put on Guardian Circle from hand or discarded from hand while riding from the right deck, cost CB1 or Energy Blast 3 and draw a card. Auto when this unit's placed on Rhaegar Circle, if you Persona roll this turn, cost CB1 or Energy Blast 3, choose a grade 1 card without Sentinel from your drop and call it to your back row Rhaegar Circle. Let's first compare it to the other cycler we have. So one of them uses Soul and the other has a choice between Counterblast and Energy Blast. Right now, since there aren't really that many cards that utilizes the energy mechanic, the new cycler is just better in a lot of decks. But once we start getting more cards that utilize energy counters, then it starts to become debatable which one should be used in which decks. I think the second effect also matters. For our deck, the second effect of Farhat is much more useful since we can get back any of the grade 1s to get more value. Since apart from Shura, we aren't using energy either. The problem is that we can't just ditch this turn 1 if we're going first since we won't have the energy. For the time being, I have Farhat in the deck, but I can easily see the argument for Kokoflan. So what is our game plan? I briefly mentioned these cards, but I think these are great additions to the deck. This deck uses CB quite a lot. To attack twice with Varga, we need to use a counterblast. To multi-attack with Shura, that is another counterblast. The maximum amount of attacks we can do per turn, including using our Divine Skill, is 7. 3 Vanguard swings with 4 Shura swings. But that will take 4 counterblasts. Even if we don't go all in and just want to attack around 5 times, that will still be 2 to 3 CBs we'll be using per turn. Having Gojo in the deck is great for countercharging. That's why I said earlier these cards combo super well with Shura. We can just get them back and play them again next turn. Persona riding is very important in this deck, as even one defensive trigger from our opponent may nullify our Vanguard swing, especially the second time without drive checks. That's why for my build, I want to filter through the deck as fast as possible with cards like Mid-Hat and Boulder Axe Dragon to find those Varga copies. I think Shenri is great for the deck. As we're wiping our opponent's front row every turn, it makes triggering this effect a lot easier in many matchups. It also gives us the option of having a very aggressive early game. And here's my simple deck list. We have multiple cards that help us dig deeper into the deck to find our Persona rides and multi-attackers. I'm running Ada's Pharaoh as my choice for OT as we can get back anything that we're needing and still putting on the crit pressure with our multiple Vanguard swings. What do you guys think about Varga Dragres? Do you think this is the best Divine Skill unit we have so far? What deck do you want me to do a deck analysis on? Let me know in the comments, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.